Peace, everybody. If we want peace, we must be willing to fight for it. And until we get it, we are going to shut this country down.
That's right!
And I have no problem saying it. Let me tell you, first and all, my message is not for white folks. My only message to white folks, get on the right side, be an accomplice, or step aside.
That's right!
Next, my message is not for old leadership in this country. My message is to young people. You know, so much of what people say doesn't bring us to the history of how we got here. The first police in America were founded to capture runaway slaves, and they're still chasing us in this country. Let's be very clear. Let us be very clear of the history of how African people even got here. Let us be very clear that most Africans that were taken from the continent did not end up in the United States. They ended up in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Panama, Brazil, Ecuador, Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize. And then you'll understand why in cities like Springfield, Mass. I live in a similar city. It's called Albany, New York, the capital of New York State, where police tasered Dante Ivy 15 times last April, and those police are still in the same neighborhood. But yet our children are going into these schools that are preparing them to become massively incarcerated. Politicians want to tell you we got to keep funding police. No, we don't. No, we don't. You know what we need to be talking about? Disarmament, demilitarize, and you keep killing us, you're not getting our money anymore. And then they're going to tell you, how is that going to work? You can't control crime in your community. Maybe if you fund schools, maybe if you not gentrify people, maybe people could live, maybe people could eat, maybe people had economic opportunities, maybe if the police weren't in our schools in elementary beating our children in schools, we could live. This mainstream media and a lot of these old, okey-doke, black and Latinx sellouts, because that's what they've done, right? Living in their gated communities, protected by police, talking about we need not to be so, our tone has to change. So when does our tone get harder? When we're on the way to a death camp? When we're back in slavery? When we're back in chains, that's when we're supposed to resist? No, we've been resisting ever since they kidnapped us, ever since they colonized us, ever since they genocidally slaughtered indigenous people in this country. And the reason I'm dropping a little bit of history before I get to the organizing part is because young people, they don't want you to know this. They want you to think that the situation you're in is in your fault. But yet, they want you to be accountable for everything you do that's against the system, right? They want to criminalize everything black and brown people are doing, including art and graffiti and hip hop. They want to criminalize all of that. They want to arrest us for marijuana, but you killing us on camera and you still getting a pension. Come on now. And then they want to tell us the solution is body cameras, but then the body cameras fall off accidentally. Then they want to tell us the solution is black and brown cops. I'm from the South Bronx. I fear black and brown cops sometimes more than white cops. Alright? Let's be real. And I'm not talking about this from an academic only perspective. Yeah, I'm getting my PhD, but I got a husband who's formerly incarcerated. And this is generationally mass incarceration, racial profiling, and what they really want to do is surveil us and contain us. They want to contain us because there's no jobs in this country. They don't know what to do with all this extra labor force, right? So that's when we got to talk about systems. And this is a system of white supremacy, patriarchy, and capitalism. You know why? Because police, mass incarceration, criminalization, the new Jim Crow, that makes money. But peace and justice doesn't make $1. Right? Right? We gotta be very real. We live in the most hyper-violent country in America. You telling me in Newtown, an hour and a half away, someone can get an AR-15 and mass slaughter babies? You talking about what happened at the Pulse nightclub? A mass slaughter of mostly queer, Boricua, and other Latinx, young black and brown people who were celebrating life? Then you want to tell young people not to be violent in return. All this country teaches is violence. Every image is violence. And then you want to militarize. That lone shooter in Dallas, what the media really doesn't want to talk about is the dude was an Army veteran for 4 years. He served in Afghanistan. America is creating killing machines right now, and they're coming back home and killing people. Right? So I know what's going to happen when I start to wrap up. I know what the media is going to say, and the rhetoric, and the tone. Every 28 hours in this country, an African American man, woman, or child, Latino man, woman, or child is being killed by the state. So young people, when the next thing they tell you is, what about black on black crime? You tell them this. You tell them this. Police are paid to protect and serve. You tell them this. When's the last time a police officer was held accountable? And then count how many of your homies on your block are incarcerated because they were smoking weed. Tell them that. Ask your mayor, how come you keep funding a system that's failing and not funding what the people need? How come half of us have to work 2 to 3 jobs to pay our rent? And then because I'm in Springfield as an Afro-Boricua, you see what's happening right now in Puerto Rico? There is revolution coming, y'all. It's right there. And Puerto Rico right now is suffering the effects of colonialism and imperialism. And you know what's going to happen? More Boricuas are going to have to come, and we're going to have to support our families and bring them in. And you know what's going to happen? The police are going to have to contain our communities more. The same conditions they created. The same conditions they created. This year alone, 574 people have been killed by the police. And for the news media here, you can look that up and research it on the Guardian newspaper. This week alone, last week, while we heard about the murders, because we seen that sister live streaming, that sister live streaming the death of her loved one, in the tradition of what Mamie Till did when she said, no, publish the picture of my son, Emmett Till. I want the world to know. What we forget a lot of times in talking about this is that as many African American sisters, increasing number of Latina sisters, an unconscionable number of queer black women are also losing their lives at the hands of the state. And we're lucky she live streamed it, because I have no doubt if she didn't, he would have killed that 4-year-old little girl, and he would have killed her too. Because what did the police do after? They arrested her. And when you watch the video, it's a 4-year-old comforting her mother saying, it's okay, daddy's gone, mama, everything's gonna be all right. Amen. So when we talk about Sandra Bland, Renisha McBride, Ayanna Jones, Tamir Rice. But the sisters, we say their names too. We say their names too. Last week, while we saw the most egregious forms play out on TV for mass consumption, Pedro Villanueva, Vincent Ramos, Raul Vargas, Melissa Ventura, who called because her man was beating her and she had a knife to protect her, and the Yuma, Arizona police came and shot her in front of her baby. And Anthony Nunes. 5 Latinos were killed in the same week. And why don't they want us to know that? Why don't they want us to know that this is black and brown? Why do people want to act like race doesn't matter? I know many white people in this country that are pretty clear race matters and are on the side of freedom and justice. So don't let the people that look like me and you, don't let President Obama, you know what, President Obama, you want to go visit Dallas? You should. And you should go to Baton Rouge, and you should go to Minnesota, and you should go to New York City, and you should go to Atlanta, Georgia, and you should go to Baltimore, and you should go to Ferguson. Because August 9, 2014 changed something for young people. As we wrap up, I'm going to bring up my daughter. 2 years ago when Mike Brown was murdered, who put their bodies on their line? I spent 2 years, instead of writing my dissertation, on the ground organizing, because I know this is a historical moment. I'm not trying to read about it in a book. I'm trying to be part of history. Right? Mike Brown laid there for 6 hours, and not a new civil rights movement started. A new resistance in young people sprung up that day. And those groups on the ground, Organization for Black Struggle, Hands Up United, Lost Voices, Millennial United, young, homeless, mostly women, mostly queer folks, put their bodies in front of tanks. And you know what the first international messages of solidarity, where they came from? From Palestine, where people were saying, we know what an occupying force feels like. For people in Puerto Rico saying, we know what it means to own something, and then the vulture funds come and try to take it away from you. That's where this started. So as a Black Lives Matter organizer, look, I am never going to stop repping Black Lives Matter. I don't care what this media says. And today, we got people on the media calling us the domestic ISIS. You calling us terrorists? You calling us terrorists? You know what they're trying to do? They're trying to criminalize us even speaking up. So young people, if you think this doesn't affect you, it doesn't even matter if you like Black Lives Matter or not. It don't matter if you want to vote for Trump or not. Look at what is happening. And be very, very clear that at this moment, everyone must step up. We must break the chains that divide black and brown. We must understand that we are not begging for our freedom and for justice. We are going to take it. We are going to demand it. We are going to organize for it. We are going to fight for it. We're not getting out these streets. You want us off the streets? Then stop killing us. That is our demand. Stop killing us. That is our demand. Ready, Alicia? So, you know, to all my people who are Black Lives Matter organizers and chapters, we need to stay safe. We need to protect ourselves. And organizing does that. But let me tell you right now, there's over 100 cities right now rising up. There's been thousands of people arrested. Intergenerational, multiracial. But black and brown bodies are always on those front lines. And you gotta be part of it. Like I said, you don't wanna open up a book and then have to tell your kid why you didn't stand up. You don't wanna be that person. So, I bring my daughter. My daughter's been in the streets because they killed 7-year-olds like Ayanna Jones and 12-year-olds like Tamir Rice. And she's gonna have to be in these streets. So as parents, when people go, I want to shield my kid, you ain't shielding your kid from anything. When you're not talking to them about this, you're setting them up. That's what you're doing. My daughter knows she is Afro-Boricua, black, Puerto Rican strong. She knows what to do if she's stopped by the police. She knows what to do if she's stopped by the police. I didn't think in my lifetime where all we fought is something I would have to teach her, but I would be doing a disservice to her and her friends if I did not protect her. And she's a warrior, and that's what we need right now. So we're gonna close it out. I want to leave you with one quote though. The ghost of Harriet Tubman is still organizing. Right now she's whispering in your ear, can't stop now moving, baby. We ain't out the woods yet. We can't stop moving. We ain't out the woods yet. Right? So I'm gonna let Alicia do a chant before we bring on Jill Stein. So here's my 1-minute spiel on electoral politics. I'm not a Democrat. I am voting for a neoliberal like Hillary Clinton who called black people super predators and supports the Promesa bill in Puerto Rico. And I'm certainly, I know, it's all right. And I'm certainly not voting for a fascist, misogynist, racist, xenophobe like Donald Trump. Of course. But for young people who don't even want to vote, I'm not even mad at you. Part of me doesn't want to vote either, but I actually have a choice, and my choice is the Green Party. And in 2008, when I took that vice presidential nomination with Cynthia McKinney, it was one of the proudest moments of my life. First Puerto Rican to run for vice president in the history of the United States, first woman of color ticket. And then in 2012, we cast our vote right here in Massachusetts for Jill Stein. And for 2016, I am repping not just Jill Stein, but I'm repping an electoral political party that says what it means and does what it means. That says what it means and does what it means. So if you're gonna vote, vote your principles and your conscience. You don't vote out of fear. Some of you will, and I understand. But hey, the Democrats are, how we say in New York City, they're the local to hell. They're the local number 6 to hell, and Donald Trump's the express. But either way, I ain't trying to go to hell. So I'm gonna let Alicia close it out.
Peace, peace, everybody. So before I start the chant, I just want to say, if you guys ever heard there's beauty in the struggle, if you look behind you, that's the struggle, here's the beauty. I see every one of you guys. No, I see every one of you guys. I see every one of you guys. And I know how hard you want us to stop. I know how hard you want it to stop. But let me tell you, we ain't gonna stop until we get what we want. When will these police officers understand that we ain't gonna stop until we get what we want? Now, when I was in LA, there's this beautiful chant that I knew, and it goes,